Hi, Gabby.
Hello, nice to meet you. I love your hair.
Oh, thank you. All right, so we're just gonna jump right in. I know you're a big fan of Cusco, so where does that love come from? Why Cusco out of all the Disney characters?
Great question. Okay, so there's a few reasons. First reason, I had a strict dad. He pulled me out of school for my birthday when I was in the fourth grade, brought me to go see The Emperor's New Groove during school hours. That's a big reason, very special memory. Another one is that he's so cool. He's just so cool that he starts off at the beginning of the film and he's like the villain of the film. And by the end of it, through the power of friendship and love, he becomes like he's a good role model. He like switches his whole villainous persona, like defeats himself through friendship, and then there's like no bad guy at the end of the movie. Um, yeah, it's a great story, and he's funny the whole time, even as he's going through this like huge character arc to become a good person. And then the third one is I don't know if you've heard the joke about like, oh, to be a Disney princess, or here's like what the Disney princesses have in common, and it's like trapped in a tower at some point, an evil person is trying to take their reign. And it's like, oh, Ariel falls under this, and Cinderella falls under this, and even Rapunzel falls under this, but Cusco also falls in all of those categories. So that was always like a little joke I liked is Cusco's my favorite Disney princess. So a lot of reasons.
I love that. I love how you thought of that. But it's kind of changing the roles there a little bit.
Yes.
I was gonna actually keep this question last, but we'll just, jump right into it. I was wondering just the animation industry is a little bit still male dominated. So, as a woman and a very young woman as well, how does it feel to be able to contribute to that?
It feels great. I mean, I thought when I was growing up that it was going to be just me, and I'd be the only like brown girl in the room, but I never am. There's always a lot of women, there's always a lot of queer people, and there's always a lot of brown people in the rooms that I'm in, and I feel really lucky about that. I thought it was going to be harder and scarier for me in the animation industry, and it has felt very welcoming, like extremely welcoming in a way that I didn't think would happen when I was a kid. But things are changing. Like all my friends in school were, one of my best friends she's Iraqi from Dubai, and she's in the industry with me. And then another one was Chinese from New York City, and she's in the industry with me. Another was like a young lady from Japan, and she's in with me. So we're coming in big waves. We're here now. It's cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I do know that you animation wasn't your first choice. You have another love first. So how did you kind of decide like, no, I'm going to go more into the arts field?
Great question. It was comics. It was my dad was a comic book collector, and so I got into comics from a very young age. It was my first love, my greatest love, and I didn't think that I could do art, is what it was. And I kind of fell into animation. I went to Cal Arts because it was where all of my favorite artists who made my favorite movies went. But somehow in my like 19, 20-year-old brain, I didn't realize that it was like a film school, like an animation school. So I remember my very first animation class, the teacher sat us down and went, okay, so we're all in the business of making movies here. And I remember thinking, oh, are we? Okay, I'll write that down. So it was a surprise to me, but it's fun. It's sequential art. It's still like comics, especially storyboarding is very much like comics. And I've learned a lot from it as far as like composition and perspective. It's really cool.
That makes for a good story. You just kind of fell into it without knowing.
Yeah, I was lucky. Animation caught me. I didn't know where I was going. I was lucky.
That's awesome. So I know you were part of Encanto. Can you tell me kind of like in what capacity you worked on that?
Yes, so I was a story apprentice, and at Disney that means that you come in not really knowing anything. I didn't know a single thing. I got taught for I think 3 months just everything that I didn't know. I had a mentor who I was paired with. Her name's Tenny. She's amazing. She taught me perspective and composition and how to draw, basically. And then after that, I did 3 months on 3 different productions. And so as an apprentice, I was on Encanto. I was in the story rooms. I helped come up with ideas, did little practice assignments and that kind of thing to gear me up to get ready to be on a production as a story artist instead of a story apprentice in a full capacity.
Oh, so fun. All right. So through that process, what did you learn about yourself as an animator? You've graduated, you've gotten there. So what did you learn about yourself?
That's a great question. Tenny worked with me a lot on eyebrows. So I'm that sounds silly, but like I was good at expressions and like making a character look how I wanted them to feel to the audience. But there are so many little micro adjustments in a face that like really sell an emotion. So Tenny always pushed me on like, you're good at this, you can be great at this. Push it a little bit further, fix this eyebrow, draw a mouth line here. And it sounds silly, but like it made a huge difference. So learning that like the things that I am already good at, don't relax on them, push it further, because then you can be even better. You can be great.
Awesome. So what's your process like? Is there a certain body part or facial expression, I don't know, that you start with, maybe the eyes, I don't know, what's your process like?
Oh my gosh. So for every artist, it's different. I love watching other artists draw because they always start in a different place from me, and I cannot conceptualize how you can see it in your head without starting where I start, which is I draw a circle that represents the head. I draw the circle very lightly because it's just an idea of like where the head should be. So I draw a circle and then I go eyes. And then when the eyes are locked, when the eyes look right, for me, I'm like, okay, the rest will fall into place. It doesn't really matter as long as the eyes are correct. Everything else will look okay. But I have friends who like start at the feet. I'm like, how do you start at the feet? How do you know where everything's supposed to go? So for me, always the head and always the eyes.
That's amazing. I'm not artistic. I wish I was. I wish I had that talent. So, listening to this, I'm just living vicariously through you. So,
you should try Sketchbook. You'll learn how to draw at least a few things.
So, speaking of Sketchbook, what was your favorite part about taking part in that?
Oh, great question. It's all been a lot of fun. It's all been brand new experiences for me that I could not have imagined when I was originally asked. I think my very favorite part was filming because I didn't realize how many people work on a live action set because animation, it's just me at my desk, right? And I'm familiar with like the other parts of the process, but I don't see everybody together. Filming, there was like the guy who has the sticks, which they taught me is the sticks. It's the thing where you go like marker and then you click it or clack it. There's also like 3 people sitting at the cameras. There were 2 guys who were in charge of this giant camera on a crane. It was just things that I never would have predicted. If you had told me to imagine a live action set, I would have probably imagined a camera, the director, the makeup person, and that's it. There was like so many people, all with really cool stories, who were kind enough to like talk to me and tell me about their jobs. It was awesome.
Were you filming the episode alone, or were all the other animators with you guys?
It was just me on that day.
Okay. All right. I was just wondering, have you learned something maybe from more of the vets of like that you're going to kind of take through the rest of your career?
Ooh, I have learned a lot, honestly, just doing interviews with the vets, just hearing them talk about how they approach animation. They're giving interview answers to press, and I'm in my head, I'm like, oh, write that down, remember that. But yeah, hearing these incredible, great artists talk about their approach to animation and why they do it is inspiring, even to me, who's a person who also does it. Yeah, I feel like I've learned a lot in a short amount of time.
That's awesome. Well, of course, you have a lot to offer as well. So just kind of going forward in like the future of animation, what do you hope to bring to the industry or, to the, whole Disney franchise?
Great question. I think, honestly, the only thing that I can hope to bring is just my life experience, my unique perspective as the person that I am. Like the only thing that I really want to contribute is like the perspective that I have, that only I have. I can offer it to you in the hopes that it will help other people find catharsis somehow. The things that I've learned, offer them up so that somebody else doesn't have as hard a time learning them or doesn't have to search as hard.
So can you tell me a little bit about that? Just kind of your story and what you kind of talk about for people who, obviously aren't able to watch Sketchbook yet, but they will very soon. But can you just give them a little tease?
Yeah. Well, I draw Cusco in it. I teach you how to draw Cusco in it. It's not as hard as you think it is. But as far as my story, I feel like, at least in my perspective, I thought I was a weirdo growing up, and I didn't feel like I fit in anywhere. And that's kind of why I liked Cusco, is because he was a weirdo. He gets turned into a llama and spends half the movie as a llama. But I did have a really good community, a really good support system that talked me up, even when I was doubting myself, and taught me to be a good, fully realized person, even if it wasn't what I thought I should be. Cusco, that happens to him too. So yeah, Disney movies helped a lot with that, actually, especially films like Mulan, where the songs are like, I'm going to keep trying, and she deals with self-doubt in that film. There's always something. That one, Princess and the Frog, was a big one for me. Tangled, all the classics. The idea of like being yourself and keeping going even when you're not sure. Comes down to that.
Is that what you would say that you hope the audience takes away from Sketchbook as they watch? I don't know. What do you hope they take away?
Oh, for my episode in particular, I say it a million times in the episode, but I just hope everybody believes in themselves. Like, I spent a lot of time not believing in myself, and that was a waste of time. You got to be your own cheerleader. You can do things that are hard, and you can do things that are scary. Even like, I say it in my episode a million times, but like, you can do it wrong. You can draw Cusco incorrectly, and that's okay. You can try again if you want to, but you don't have to. Like, you did it, and that's good. It was a good try.
You had to erase. You did mess up a little bit, so
Yeah.
which is fine. Hey,
yes.
Professionals do it. So
exactly.
That's
not everything.
One lesson to take, right?
Yeah, that's what the eraser's for. It's okay. You'll be all right.
Awesome. Do you mind if I ask how old you are?
I'm 29 this year.
29. Okay, awesome. And then what, if you can say, are there any upcoming Disney projects that you've been a part of that you can talk about?
That I've been a part of, Strange World is the one that I've been a part of. It's great. It's awesome. You'll love it. I was on Encanto too, and that one you already know is great and awesome.
Yes, it is. Okay, so those were all my questions, and I have a little bit of time. So is there anything else that you want to add or mention that I didn't bring up or no one's asked you that you want to talk about?
Ooh, my own interview question. I don't know.
No pressure, but I just wanted to give you the opportunity if you wanted to.
Okay, let's see. Oh, no, you can see me thinking. I don't know. Okay, let's go with my favorite ride at Disneyland. Somebody asked me that recently, and I was like, oh, that's a great question. I like Pirates of the Caribbean. I also love the Pirates movies. I don't get like starstruck anymore as much because I've been in animation quite a few years.
Mm-hmm.
Not okay. I can't say that because like there are some people who've been longer than I've been alive, but you get what I mean. But the time that I did get really starstruck on at Disney was one of the first times I was there. I was going on a tour, and somebody pointed up at this soundstage and was like, "Oh yeah, they filmed a scene from Pirates there, like the pirate ship." And so we'd come to work and like see the pirate ship up there, and I was like, "What? What? How is that possible? That's so cool." Yeah, there you go.
That's awesome. Well, no, hey, you need to get starstruck, and I'm sure there's going to be another moment. Like it's just a thing. So
yeah, there was that one, and then the only other one was I met the live action reference from Megara from Hercules, and she moved and looked so much like Megara from Hercules that I was like, oh, it's her, it's Meg. That was cool too.
That's amazing. Well, thank you so much for your time. I had a lot of fun with this interview. I hope it was the same for you. And it was really nice to meet you.
Thank you. It was nice to meet you too.
All
Thanks
right.
for
Have a
having
good
me.
day.